you guys how to recreate this makeup look. And the reason why I did kind of like a glam and glittery kind of look today is because obviously it's Christmas coming up very soon, and if you're going out on New Year's Eve or anything, this look would also be perfect for that too. I also used all drugstore products in this video as well, because I know that not everybody can afford like your high-end brands, and drugstore makeup is just so easy accessible to get as well. Like you can just go into like Superdrug or Boots and just easily pick it up. I tried to keep the eye look and stuff quite straightforward and simple, just because I know that not everyone is like amazing at makeup and not everyone can do like really crazy complex looks. So I thought just keeping the eyes quite simple, but like explaining my technique and everything, so hopefully you guys will be able to understand and also recreate this little makeup look as well. And if you do recreate this makeup look, tag me on Instagram, because I always love to see your little makeup looks as well. So guys, don't forget to hit the little subscribe button down below, and I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in a little sec. So I've already went ahead and applied my primer today, and I just used the Flormar Double Radiance Highlighting Primer, and this is kind of just like one of those like illuminating kind of products, and you can see it's already on my face right now. It's like super glowy, and I always love to use a product like this just underneath my foundation because it makes my foundation look way more glowy and dewy and everything. And for my foundation today, I'm going to use my favourite all-time drugstore foundation, which is the Maybelline Superstay, and I'm going to use it in the shade number 36, which is Warm Sun. I'm just taking a little small brush first of all and just using this to apply it onto my skin, and then I'm just going in with kind of like a buffing brush and using this to just really press it into my skin. And I definitely think brushes definitely give you a better coverage over like a beauty sponge, just because like whenever you're obviously dampening your beauty sponge, it almost kind of like dilutes the coverage of your foundation, and then also a sponge just kind of like absorbs most of the product. So number one, you end up like wasting loads of your foundation, and then number two, you don't really get a strongest coverage. So for me to get a really good full coverage, I always use brushes, and I don't really use sponges that much anyway, just because I'm so used to using brushes like all my clients too. And then for my concealer today, I'm going to use the LA Guard Pro Conceal Concealer. I haven't used this one in forever, but it used to be one of my favourites. I recently just got this off Cloud 10 Beauty, if you're wondering, if you're looking for anywhere to get it if you're in the UK, because LA Guard can be quite like hard to find in the UK, but I got mine off Cloud 10 Beauty, which I'll leave a little link to down below in the description. So I'm just going to take some on the little brush it comes with and just apply this underneath my eyes, and then I'm also going to use this as my eyeshadow base today too. So I'm just applying it where I normally apply my concealer, so just underneath my eyes. And because I'm going for like quite a glam look today, again I'm going for like quite like strong coverage, so that's why I'm using like so much product. And then just going in with a little smaller kind of blending brush, kind of just like a smaller version of the foundation brush that I use. I'm using this to then pat in my concealer again, and the same kind of motions guys as well, like you're wanting to use like patting motions, because if you keep on buffing your like concealer or your foundation, it almost kind of like takes it off again. So that's why you need to use just gentle kind of patting motions, and it just keeps the product exactly where you want it, and then also keeps the coverage nice and strong too. This concealer has such amazing coverage. You can see just by, obviously I did apply like quite a lot, this concealer has such amazing coverage as well guys. If you're looking for like a good drugstore inexpensive concealer, like you can see there, it's really cancelled out everything underneath my eyes. And then whenever I have my concealer blended, I'm just going back in with my same foundation brush that I used earlier, and I'm using this just to then re-pat down everything, just to make sure everything is totally merged together. I'm also taking this same concealer and just putting it on my eyelids as well, because I want to make sure my eyeshadows have something to kind of stick down to, and I don't want to see any redness or discoloration on my eyelids, so I'm going to use this concealer as well. And then just taking a little smaller brush just to buff this in and just pat it all down again. And then now what I'm going to do is just set my highlighted areas like under my eyes, my T-zone and everything else, just with the Maybelline Loose Setting Powder in 05. I actually got this whenever I was in Walgreens, whenever I was in San Francisco, and I seen it and I was like, oh my god, I need to buy this, because I've heard so many people talking about it. It's still not in like UK drugstores, which is so annoying, but there's a little makeup shop in Belfast City Centre which I get it from as well, or you can get it in America too, or you can probably get it online as well. So recently I actually got sent over the Makeup Revolution and Patricia Bright collab. So I've got the two eyeshadow palettes, and then I also have all the little face palettes here, which I'm actually going to use now because I want to use one of these to kind of contour my skin today. The little face palettes actually come in 4 different shades. So this one here is in the shade Dusk Till Dawn, which I'm pretty sure is the darkest one. Obviously this isn't going to match my skin tone, but for you darker skin girls out there, this would be perfect for you. So I'm going to take the colour Summer Sunrise, and I'm going to take the contour colour in the middle and use this to kind of sculpt out my skin. I've only taken a tiny little bit on my brush because I've never used these before, and I'm not sure like how pigmented they are, and already I can see like, look at that, like I only literally put a tiny little bit on my brush and you can already see like the shadow and the pigment on my skin. I'm just adding some to my cheekbone, going to add a little bit onto my jawline as well, and then also just a little bit around my temple area too, and then just a little bit around here. So you can already see the difference between like the contoured and like sculpted side compared to the non-contoured side. And before I move on to my bronzer as well, I'm actually going to take that blusher that's in this same little palette, because I want to try the blush too, because I've actually been into blush so much more recently. If you're like an OG subscriber of mine, you guys know that I used to like literally hate blush, and now I'm obsessed with it. Like, it's crazy how like makeup trends change so much, and like my own personal preference with makeup, because I literally used to despise blusher. So pretty. I'm just applying it just to the apples of my cheeks, and I also like to apply some kind of like on my nose too, kind of like that little sunburnt effect. Cute. So while I've tried this colour and this colour, I may as well try the little highlighting shade. This colour isn't something I would typically go for. I go for more like a paler kind of gold colour. This one in this palette is more like a pinky kind of like champagne-y colour, but I'm interested to see what it looks like, or see like how bright it is also. So yeah, definitely this is definitely more so like a more natural kind of highlighting colour, although it is building up quite strong. So, but it's definitely one of those like more like natural kind of finished highlights where you can build it up if you want it like to be more intense. I'm also going to apply some just on the tip of my nose too, just where I normally would, and then also a little bit on the other side as well, just back and forth on the very highest points of my cheekbones. And I'm also going to just take some above my lip too, because I like to be like extra glowy, especially in the winter time. I don't know, just because my skin be so dry in the winter, I just feel like highlighter is so necessary, and I've always loved highlighter. Like, I love it so much. This palette so far has been really good. Like, the bronzer colour, the contour kind of shade is so nice, the blush works so well, and the highlighting colour also works so well. Okay, so now I'm finished kind of doing my eyebrows and my base for now. I'm going to return back to my base later on and add like more bronzer and stuff on. But for my eyeshadow, I want to keep the look quite like basic and straightforward, but still quite glam and like glittery and shimmery and everything, especially for like this Christmas season. And then obviously you can maybe use this kind of makeup look and these techniques also for like New Year's Eve, like if you have any plans for that or anything. And I definitely want to keep most of the products in this video mainly drugstore, just because drugstore products are so much easier to get and everyone can afford them. They're not too expensive either. I'm actually just going to use the Makeup Revolution and Patricia Bright eyeshadow palettes today in this video, just because again they're easy to get and they're super inexpensive, and I just recently got these sent in PR and I also really want to try them too. So this one here is the more neutral coloured one, and then we also have a more brighter coloured palette too, which is the one with the black kind of lid, and these are the colours within the more brighter one. I'm going to take this shade here, which is from the Rich in Colour palette, and with this colour I'm just going to place it straight into my crease and just back and forth motions just throughout my crease area. Makeup Revolution eyeshadows are amazing, especially for the price. If you're a makeup artist or like wanting to become a makeup artist, Makeup Revolution is such a brand that you can totally rely on, and also like just love their products because their products are so good and they're so inexpensive too. And then I'm just going to take a brand new clean brush and I'm going to go in with this shade here called Try Me, and this one is actually from the Rich in Life palette, which is a more neutral kind of toned one, and I'm just going to blend this colour just right above that other colour and just use this colour to kind of soften those edges. And then what you can do as well is just alternate between your two brushes that you've used so far to kind of reblend again. So I'm just going back to my original brush that I used before with the darker colour, and I'm not taking any additional colour. I'm just using the same brush to kind of go over what I've already did to make sure it's totally blended. So I'm just going in with a little bit of the concealer that I used from earlier on, and I've just got some in the back of my hands, and I'm going to use this and apply it from like my inner corner just about halfway across my eyelid. And this is going to act as like our eyeshadow base for our more shimmery and glittery colours. I'm then going in with this shade here, and this is going to act as like my inner corner highlight colour, and I'm also going to just bring it across the lid a little bit, just right into the inner corner area, just right here. And then I'm going to go in with this shade right here called Diamonds for Breakfast, and I'm going to put this colour just right beside that first colour that we applied, and I'm just going to apply it on the rest of the concealer that we used earlier on, just halfway across my eyelid, just using little pressing motions. And this colour here is more of like a cream kind of like foil consistency, like it's not like a powdery eyeshadow, it's more of like a cream, so that's why I'm kind of like dragging my brush across the eyelid, because it definitely applies a lot better whenever you do that, whereas if you just like pat it, it doesn't really come on that well, so you kind of need to like pressure brush it and like drag it across. Okay, so now that I have the shimmer shades on my eyelids, I'm going to go back to my two original brushes that I was using earlier and going back in with those two matte brown colours again, and I'm just going to rebuild those back up. So just going back to this shade first of all, I'm just going to re-add this onto my outer corner and then just put it through my crease area again, just because it helps to kind of blend those shimmery edges too. So just place my brushes right on the outer corner just here, and then back and forth throughout my crease area again, and then back to the other shade that I used earlier, and again just adding another little layer of that just around those edges of that darker brown colour. So because I want this makeup look to be quite glam and glittery and everything else, I'm going to use one of the little pressed glitters also within the same palette, and this is the more kind of coloured palette. The normal kind of neutral one doesn't really have any like pressed glitters, it's just more so like shimmers in this one, whereas this one has like a couple of pressed glitters, so I'm definitely going to go for this shade here today. So I just got the glittery shade on like a little flat brush, and I'm going to just press this on top of where I put that other shimmery colour, just on the actual eyelid. This colour is so nice. It's kind of like a champagne-y, like silvery, like grey kind of colour, like gold. It's so unique. It's kind of like a gold but like silvery, not gold, silver kind of colour. It's hard to explain, but it's so nice and it's so appropriate for this time of year too. And then I'm just going back in with that darker matte brown that we used earlier, and I'm just going to pat some onto my outer corner and kind of just flick my brush in towards the edge of that glitter, just so that it's nice and blended, because it kind of is hard to blend like a glittery kind of product with a real matte colour because the contrast is quite intense. So definitely make sure you're going in with your darker matte colour and using this to kind of flick in the edges of the glitter to make sure it's really blended. So for my lower lash line, what I'm going to do is go back in with that lighter brown colour that we used earlier, which we used around the edges of the darker brown. I'm going to use this one and kind of buff it the whole way along my lower lash line. With no excess product on the brush, I'm just going back and forth to kind of smudge that out and just blend it a little bit. And then I'm just going to go back into the darker brown colour, and I'm just going to place this right on the outer corner of my eye just so that it connects in with the top part. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and apply a pair of eyelashes, and these are actually my own brand of eyelashes, but ignore this wee crappy packaging. They will not be in this packaging. I'm releasing and rebranding my whole entire eyelash collection very soon, and they will all be available to purchase very soon, but I'll keep you all informed. And this style that I'm wearing today is actually the style Luck, which was from my original collection, which is one of my best sellers. So whenever I have them available to order, I will leave a link down below in the description. But these are one of my favourite styles. I love them. They're super dramatic, and I just love how like spaced out and like spiky the little hairs are, but still super fluffy and like voluminous looking. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply one of these lashes, and I'll show you what they look like whenever they're on. So I've just went ahead and applied the lashes and did a little bit of mascara, and look at the difference. Like look at the before eye and then look at the after eye. Like, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and do what I did on this side, just on this side, and then I'll be back to show you what else I'm going to do with the rest of my makeup today. So yeah, I'll see you in 2 little seconds. Okay, so now that I have both my eyelashes on and both of my eyes complete, it looks so much better now. It doesn't look as weird. What I'm going to do is go in with my Milani Baked Bronzer in 05, which is one of my all-time favourite drugstore bronzers if you're looking for a good one, especially if you love more of like a glowy dewy finish, because it does have like nice like golden shimmery kind of bits through it. And with this, what I'm going to do is just kind of like all over bronze with this. I'm not really kind of like structuring my skin with it. I'm just kind of giving myself like a warm glow with this one. I'm just going around the sides of my forehead, pretty much just where I contoured, only not as like specific, and that's why I'm using like a bigger kind of fluffier brush for this. So because I do want my highlighter a little bit more popping, what I'm going to do is actually mix these two highlighting shades. So I'm going to take this one here from the Dusk Till Dawn palette, which is the darker one, and I'm also going to mix it with the shade from the Moonlight Glow palette. This one is a little bit too pale for me, whereas this one's a little bit too dark, and that's why I'm just going to mix both of them. And I'm also going to spray my brush with a little bit of the Vitamin E Hydrating Mist from Superdrug, which is again is one of my favourites. All the products in this video today that I've been using are like proper favourites of mine, by the way guys. Like I love, like any products that I use are always products that I actually genuinely like. So I'm just going to spray my brush with a little bit of this, just so that whenever I do apply my highlighter, it looks way more pigmented and intense. So again, I'm just going to apply this where I originally applied my other highlighter earlier on. And then for my lips, because we have quite dramatic eyes, I want to keep the lips quite simple. So I'm going to take the Primark lip liner in the shade Rosewood Mauve, which again is one of my favourites. I know I'm sick of saying that, but like it genuinely is a favourite. So I'm just going to line them with this. And then for my actual lip colour, I'm just going to apply the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Creme Brulee, which is just like a pale kind of pinky sheer gloss, because I don't want to apply nothing too opaque to my lips because my eyes are quite like shimmery. But of course, if you're wanting to go all out, you could maybe use like a darker nude colour, or perhaps like a nice dark kind of like wine red or something would be really pretty too. But I always like to kind of keep the balance, and because I'm not really used to wearing that much makeup on myself anymore, I'm kind of like, ooh. So that's why I'm going to go with just a kind of like a sheer kind of gloss. And again, these NYX Butter Glosses, they're one of my favourite lip gloss formulas ever. They're not sticky in the slightest, but yet they still last a really long time, and they feel so comfortable on the lips. And then just to set everything in place again, I'm just going back in with my Vitamin E Hydrating Mist from Superdrug. I'm just taking a big fluffy brush and just patting that setting spray into my skin just to make sure that it's guaranteed to actually work, because sometimes the sprays like don't really do much unless you actually like press them right in, because they kind of just like sit on the little hairs on your face, whereas if you press it in, it's getting really like melted in with the rest of the makeup that's on your skin. So guys, if you did enjoy this makeup look, please give it a little thumbs up, and also please hit the little subscribe button down below, because I would appreciate that like so much. So I love yous all, and have an amazing Christmas from me and my family, and I love yous all, and I will see you in my next one. See you later.